This just into CNN, Elon Musk is responding to an exclusive CNN report that his company, SpaceX, says it can no longer pay for critical satellite services in Ukraine and is asking the Pentagon to pick up the tab. CNN's Alex Marquardt joins me now on the phone. Alex, what is Elon Musk saying now?
Well, Jim, if what he's saying in his tweet is true, then this is a complete reversal of what his company has been telling the Pentagon. It's, of course, hard to tell how serious he's being. In his tweet today, he's saying, to hell with it, we will keep funding Starlink in Ukraine, despite the fact that they are still losing money. Now, let's remind our viewers that what we have been reporting is that the company that runs Starlink in Ukraine, this satellite internet service, is SpaceX, which of course is largely owned by Elon Musk. And they had requested that the Pentagon start paying the bill. They simply said, we've already spent $100 million. We can no longer continue to pay for this hardware and this service indefinitely. We're now asking the Pentagon to start picking up the tab. And what they were asking for in the media term was $124 million for the rest of the year. And that's a rate that could amount to around $400 million for about 12 months, not an insignificant amount. So it seems that SpaceX was essentially done paying for this really critical internet service in Ukraine. Now, after our reporting, there was a bit of an uproar, and it looks like now Elon Musk is deciding to switch course and saying, somewhat bitterly, despite the fact that other companies are getting taxpayer money, we will continue to fund this. Now, there's no disputing the fact that there are other companies that are not paying out of pocket, whether it's Raytheon or Lockheed, defense industry companies. But the point here is, Jim, that since Starlink was sent into Ukraine early on in the war back in March, there has been a lot of global acclaim, a lot of thanks for Elon Musk and SpaceX for sending this, and they were taking a lot of the credit. And it was surprising to a lot of people that, in fact, other governments, other entities were paying for this critical service in Ukraine. So now what Musk is saying is that they will continue to fund this. We haven't been able to check with the Pentagon yet to see if they're rescinding this request. And it is completely fair to point out that this is a critical technology that Ukrainian forces have been absolutely relying on. And without it, they would be severely hampered at a really critical juncture in this war, Jim.
All right, Alex Marquardt, thanks for that important update. We appreciate it. Elon Musk there with an apparent reversal. Alex Marquardt is reporting now. My next guest is a prominent Putin critic who is at one time the largest foreign investor in Russia. Bill Browder is the CEO of Hermitage Capital, as well as the author of Freezing Order, a true story of money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. Bill, you're a businessman. What do you make of Elon Musk and what he is now tweeting about? I guess it sounds like a reversal on his part, that he's going to continue helping the Ukrainians with this very important service.
Well, Elon Musk got a huge amount of goodwill for offering it in the first place. And I look at this and I say to myself, the guy's worth like north of $200 billion. He's one of the richest guys in the world. He's got all this goodwill. What's he doing messing around for $100 million when it's just the tiny fraction of his total net worth? Ukrainians need this. If they don't have it, they'll be hamstrung. I think that he'd be right, and it would help him and his reputation just to carry on.
Yeah, what do you suppose is going on there? Why would he do this to begin with?
Well, I don't know what's going through his mind, but he came up with a crazy Twitter poll a few days ago, basically asking people whether Vladimir Putin should just be allowed to keep the territory that he's already illegally annexed. Asking for a new referendum, and that was sort of straight out of Putin's talking points, and I think it really upset just about anybody who cares about Ukraine. So Elon Musk is sort of venturing out of his area of technical expertise into the area of foreign policy, where he is not a genius. He's just like everybody else, and he seems to be misstepping at every place along the way when it comes to talking about.
Well, and speaking of missteps along the way, let's talk about Vladimir Putin. He says he has no regrets about these deadly missile attacks carried out this week on civilian targets in Ukraine. Speaking at a press conference, Putin would only acknowledge that, quote, what is happening now is unpleasant, to put it mildly. What do you think is happening with Vladimir Putin and his mindset right now? I mean, you've been sort of a thorn in his side for some time. And this is not going well for him in Ukraine, and he's lashing out.
It's not going well for him at all. He's lost more than 60,000 soldiers, which I should point out is 4 times the number of soldiers that the Soviets lost in Afghanistan over a 10-year period. He's lost 60,000 soldiers in 7 months. As a result of losing these soldiers and having a bunch of other ones wounded, they've lost a lot of the territory that they thought they had taken as the Ukrainians have pushed back. And as a result of losing that territory, Putin has had to cross a line that he didn't want to cross, which is to draft up a bunch of people, 300,000 soldiers from all walks of life, to go and become the next cannon fodder in Ukraine. And that's led to his decline in popularity. People are leaving Russia. There's more than 500,000 people, could be as many as 1 million men between the ages of 18 and 60 have left Russia. So he's in a very bad place right now. And what does he do when he's in a bad place? He lashes out. And all of this sort of indiscriminate bombing of Ukrainian civilians is a sign of his desperation. He's not doing well. He's not gaining any military advantage by pummeling Ukrainian civilians in different places across Ukraine. And he's probably using up whatever's left of his diminished artillery. And so this is not looking good for Vladimir Putin right now. And his statements that this is all going according to plan, it's not going according to any plan he had at the beginning of this war.
And apparently, President Biden and President Putin will both be at the G20 summit in Indonesia next month. Obviously, schedules can change and so on, but potentially you could see a meeting between these two men, or at least a brief interaction on the sidelines of the summit. Do you think the President of the United States should speak with Vladimir Putin? And if so, what should he say?
At this point, I think we've said all we need to say to Vladimir Putin, which is get out of Ukraine. There's nothing more to say. There's no behind-the-scenes negotiations that need to be done at this point. We've told Putin in no uncertain terms that this is an unacceptable war of aggression. He's got to withdraw. We're going to continue to fund the Ukrainians and provide them with weapons. I don't know if there's any words that need to be exchanged between these two people right now.
It certainly seems like Vladimir Putin isn't really listening to anybody right now, even inside Russia. Bill Browder, thanks very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.